welcome back to my kitchen. So one thing that I love to do is pipe buttercream flowers, and it's been so long since I've featured any on this channel. So for this week's video tutorial, I thought I would do a slightly updated, more advanced version of a mini rose cupcake that I did a little while ago. Now, if you haven't seen that tutorial, I will put a link in the description below if you want to check that one out. But in today's video, I'm going to show you how to make these really pretty rose flower cupcakes. Now, each cupcake is made to look like a small bouquet of roses, and as it's autumn, I thought I would do them in autumnal colours. Now, don't forget, if you like this video, you can subscribe to the Cakes by Names YouTube channel for more videos like this. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button, as this will just alert you every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get started. So in order to make my autumnal rose cupcakes, I first of all got my batch of buttercream. Now I've just split it into 4, and I've got a deep red. Now to colour this one, I've just used the Sugar Flare Extra Red. I've also got a yellow, which I used the Colour Splash Sunflower Yellow. For this orange or corally colour, I used the Colour Splash Orange and just mixed a hint of the Sugar Flare Extra Red, and lastly a leaf green, and this is also the Colour Splash Green. I've then got some of my vanilla cupcakes. Now I will put a link in the description below to all the recipes that I've used in today's video. I've got some parchment paper and my flower needle. Now this one I've just attached a small amount of double-sided tape to the top so that my parchment paper will stick. I've got my piping tips and my piping bags, and as always my offset spatula. Okay, so the first thing to do is start piping some of my roses. Okay, so for the cupcakes, I'm going to do 3 slightly larger roses and 3 slightly smaller ones to fill up some of the gaps. So I've got the 2 piping tips, the Wilton 104 and the Wilton 102. Now they both have teardrop shapes, and the 104 measures around 1 centimetre and the 102 is just over half a centimetre. So I'm going to start with the larger one of the 2 and just pop this into my piping bag. Hold my piping bag still whilst I pop in some of my buttercream. Now I'm going to take my flower pin and just add on a small piece of parchment paper. Now I've got the teardrop shape, and you want to make sure the wider section of the teardrop is at the bottom. Now I'm going to start applying pressure so that a small amount of buttercream comes out. Once I've got a small ball, I'm just going to start to turn my flower pin all around that buttercream, which is going to create a flower bud for the center. So as you can see, it's quite wide at the bottom and it just goes to this point at the top. I'm going to start adding some petals so that I cover the join, and I'm going to do 3 petals. So I'm just going to apply pressure and pull that across, and that's going to give me my first one. Now I'm going to start halfway into that one and pull over again, and 1 more. I'm then going to do exactly the same around the outside, but do 5 petals. Now you want to do these quite slowly, and you want to stop applying pressure before you pull the bag away, and this is just going to give you a nice edge. So the first 3 petals are just pointing inward slightly, just towards that flower bud, and with the second ones we're just lifting the piping bag slightly as we go, just leaning back a tiny bit just to open that rose out. So there we have our first rose. Now I'm going to do a couple more in this colour, and I'm going to go ahead and make some of those in the red and the yellow. Okay, so once we've done them with the larger 104 tip, I'm going to go in with the 102. So just a slightly smaller version, but do exactly the same. So I'm going to just pipe a flower bud in the center, create my 3 petals, and leaning back slightly, my 5. So when we take this off and compare it to the slightly larger one, this one is around 1.5 inches across, and these ones are just under 1 inch. So I'm going to pipe some of those smaller ones so that we have a selection of the different sizes. Once I've made all my roses, I'm going to pop these into the fridge for around 10 minutes. Now, if you want to do it faster, you could just pop them into the freezer for a few minutes, but we just want that buttercream to firm up so that we're able to take that parchment paper easily off the back. Okay, so now we've got our buttercream flowers and they're all ready. It's time to prepare our cupcake. I'm just taking one of the colours of buttercream. Now, it doesn't matter which colour, but I'm just creating a small buttercream dome on the top of my cake. So just popping some of that buttercream in the centre and just tapering it down so we get a nice dome on the top that our flowers can stick to, and this is also going to create a nice shape for the bouquet. So we've got all of our buttercream flowers and they've come out of the fridge. Now, as you can see, they're quite firm to touch, and I can just peel that parchment paper off. So for each cupcake, I'm going to need 3 of the larger ones and 3 of the slightly smaller ones. So take my cupcake and my offset spatula, use this to peel that backing off. I can then place my first flower on and just make sure that it's nice and firm up against that buttercream dome. I do exactly the same for the second one and just make sure they're as close as I can get them at the top. And again for the larger yellow one. Now, in these triangle spaces that we have down here, I'm going to use the smaller roses that we've created just to fill those gaps. To finish this off, I'm going to add some leaves and some flower buds. Now, for the flower buds, I've got a piping bag with some green, and I've popped in a number 2 piping tip. So this one just has a circle end, and I've also got some of that red in a piping bag with a number 1 piping tip. Take some of those gaps and just pipe a ball of buttercream. I'm then going to take the smaller number 1 piping tip and just place that slightly inside green and just apply pressure, and this is going to give me a nice little flower bud. Now I'm going to do this in a few places where we've got those gaps. Now you want to stop applying pressure before you pull away, and this is going to give you a nice ball without a little dimple on the top. Now, with the last of the gaps, I'm just going to fill these up with some leaves. For the leaves, I'm just using the Wilton 352. Now, this one just has a V cut out. So I'm going to pop this in my piping bag with some green buttercream. Hold my piping tip so that the point is on the top, and we've got this cut out on the side. I'm then going to place it where we've got a gap, apply pressure, and just pull up, and that's just going to give me a nice leaf shape. So I'm going to do this in the rest of those gaps. So here we have the finished autumnal rose cupcake bouquets. So we've got the 3 larger roses and the 3 smaller roses. Now, if you did want to make them with slightly less flowers, you could do a version just with the larger roses and fill up those gaps on the side with more flower buds. You can also make them in any colour, so you don't need to make them autumnal. You could try pinks or purples, anything that would match your party. I really hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial and will enjoy making your own variation of this cake. If you have, then don't forget to give this video a like and let me know in the comments below if you want to see more cupcake tutorials. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Cakes by Lindsay YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so YouTube will just alert you every time I upload a new video. I'll also put a link in the description below to all the tools that I used in today's video and all the recipes. So until next time, bye!